Alrighty, today is VOD review. Now, I haven't done this in, I think we only did one other video during DK play that I actually did, but this is a VOD review, and it's been over a week since I've actually played these games and everything. So they're both games that are going to be a little bit kind of rougher games, if you will. This one, just a little bit of a spoiler, I'm sorry. We ended up winning 3 out of the 6 games, and the other one we only won 1. So it's kind of a, let's see what I kind of did wrong in kind of general there. Like, I did hit into the defensive on the Warlock there for a second, but I kind of swapped as quickly as possible. Now, he doesn't have a defensive, so going after him is probably a good thing. I think I lost him there for for a split second, and so I kind of went towards the healer. Maybe I was trying to stun. I don't remember exactly my thought process on that one. I should have dropped that darkness way earlier. I have been doing a lot of practice on trying my best to swap on defensives, and honestly, that's what kind of screwed me in a different game, or the next game that we're about to see. I believe I did kind of mention before that I am moved around some stuff so that I can try to see the casts a little bit better. I'm still working on that, and still getting the awareness of who exactly is got a lot of stuns on them, or we should still kind of hit through, or whatever it is. I should have vengeful retreated there to get away from the Shadow Fury, but truthfully we're gonna lose that either way, so it didn't really matter. There were a lot of things that I could have done better. Like, someone recently told me that using Shadow Meld actually is a very good thing to use to not get hit with casts, and that is something that I didn't know until literally yesterday when I read that YouTube comment. But now that I do know about it, that's really awesome. Now, getting into this one, and especially the next one, I'm still learning a good opener. I think I finally figured one out. A video that's going to be coming up for us soon, and obviously not in this video, but a new video. We actually, I felt really comfortable with my opener, now that I've kind of figured one out, and it is much better, and you can do a lot better once you have a solid opener. When you're kind of questioning yourself on an opener like I am throughout these games, it doesn't work out for you. Especially at the start, he does have a defensive, and I shouldn't be hitting into that defensive, obviously. But that's kind of something that I have a little bit of a problem in both of these games that you're going to see, is that a lot of people are hitting defensives, and all 3 of them, even the healer sometimes, all are running defensives. And I've been trying to figure out who to go into during those times when he has 2 defensives right there that he just popped. I should not be hitting into this. Why am I hitting into this? I guess it's just kind of in the moment. It's difficult, it's very difficult until you're really into it. Because obviously I did swap, and obviously swapping onto the healer, especially when it's an R druid, it's a good thing. That's one of the things that you should kind of not really be prioritizing, but you should also be doing pretty often. I'm assuming we're going to end up winning this game because they're all pretty much very low, and our team's really topped off. So I think overall this game was it has mistakes in it, obviously, and see right there, he popped defensives, I swapped. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that DK, he's popping 2 defensives at once. He's doing IBF and his AMS. Which is, Icebound Fortitude and the Anti-Magic Shield at the same time. I could have missaw that, but big debuffs, I'm pretty sure I saw both of those being popped at the same time. I know he did that earlier as well. So, not saying that he was the losing factor for any teams or whatever. He actually was a winning factor for that one. But that was definitely not an ideal call, to say the least. But that's for him, not necessarily for us, obviously. That's a good thing for us if he's double defensiving down. Now, getting to this one, we are getting behind a pillar, which isn't necessarily right away, but we're going pretty much straight into it. Now, doing the our hunt right there is probably not the best of ideas, but you know, kind of is what it is. I did it right here. I am stunned while in his slappy arms, which I like to call them. I think other people call them slappy arms too, and that's where I got it from. But regardless, I dropped my darkness because I don't know if that's a good call or not, but I'm pretty sure it is because it will negate all of the slappy arms damage, and that's his big burst, you know. So it kind of puts us not necessarily ahead. It's like right here, both of them have defensives. I don't know who to necessarily go into. I'm assuming going into the DK in that moment is good. And now again, 2 defenses are still up. Unless you really want to just hit into that absorb shield of the warlock instead, I truthfully do not know. Or maybe swapping over to the druid is the better call there. But I lost my train of thought of the other thing that I was saying. Other than like he's still got a defensive, I'm trying to stay off of him, and obviously letting a warlock free cast is not the, you know, ideal play. Trying to keep him stunned up. I do need to work on getting, you know, more stuns off and whatnot. If I had he was about to cast, you know, the Shadow Fury. If I had Vengeful Retreat, that would have been a moment that I would have attempted to use it if I thought about it. You know, like right now I have it, but I also kind of need to use it so that way I have, you know, more momentum and so on and so forth. So not a terrible use, but also I feel like I should try to save that a little bit more if I, you know, possibly can. I think something that I was saying earlier was that when they're all holding, or both the DPS have defensives, especially with an R druid there, that's who I should be going after. I saw that he has defensives up, and so I swap, and then he has defensives up, and so again, don't know who to go after, should be going after the R druid. But let's say it's not an R druid, I'm assuming maybe I still should be going after the healer, but I truthfully don't know in that moment. I know, just like another little spoiler alert from like the end of this video, the Holy Pally didn't end up winning any games. He lost all 6 games. So like, obviously in games like this, those are factors to where like, it might not have been completely his fault. You know, he could have been like doing his best and everything, and like, you know, maybe just having an off day, or like everyone else was just completely like just steamrolling him, and like the team comps weren't working out in his favor and stuff like that. But it is obviously kind of like a factor in a sense, you know. Now, to be fair, in this game specifically, our druid was honestly kind of toxic. He was making calls on certain things that, in my opinion, were like, they're not terrible by any means, but also kind of like not great calls, you know. Like me and the DPS kind of had like a general idea of who we were going to go after and stuff like that. And then the druid would be getting, you know, upset that we were going after him. And like kind of spamming it in the chat, you know, like, why are you going after him? I said S-Priest and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, because at the current moment, like, I mean, he might not be the like 100% most optimal target, because like obviously I don't know, because I'm not like, you know, a rank 1 player or anything like that. But a lot of times the DK is currently the call. They're pretty squishy, and so like that's where my brain went on this one, to where like I know they called S-Priest, but like look at the DK going down, and we actually did end up obviously winning. So like it still worked out. Would it have worked out maybe better if we went after the S-Priest and like won quicker? It's obviously, you know, very possible. But in this exact situation, the swaps and everything like that kind of ended up obviously working out in our favor. So over here, I'm doing pretty decent. I'm keeping up a moderate amount of fury and whatnot. I've stopped kind of, at least recently, I've stopped focusing too much about like having the perfect like rotation per se. And more focusing on getting death sweeps out. Now, I don't necessarily 100% do that in these 2 games, but it is something that I have been doing a lot recently. I noticed that he had a whirlwind, or is it whirlwind? I can't remember the name of it. Cyclone, that's it. A cyclone on him, and so I was going to go after the S-Priest, but he's cloned. I'm not going to go after him. and we get the kill on the DK. So that one actually worked out pretty well. So in this one, he again calls the S Priest, and that's in my opinion, that is a very, very bad call. Having a warlock just being able to completely free cast, even if the S Priest is an easier kill, quote unquote, it's still a destruction warlock that you don't want to just be able to do whatever he wants. Our DK is going down really badly here, and I should be dropping darkness. Sorry, I know in this video I wasn't doing a great job at, at actually talking about the VOD itself and the gameplay and whatnot, and that's my bad. I'll try to focus a little bit more on it. But I swap over to the Pally here because obviously he is the closest for me to hit. And luckily, actually, the DK did a super good job at pulling in the warlock on that specific moment. And why I didn't go after him, I don't know. I should have been hitting into the warlock because the S Priest obviously had a very big defensive up, and so he had a blessing of protection, which is obviously insane defensive for being a melee. So I should have swapped, and I don't know why. Like I don't think I was hitting the S Priest. I think I was just kind of standing there, to be honest, which is obviously very bad. I saw the flay, but not going after it. We did end up taking it down, which is dope. But I should have probably swapped and hit him. But also the S Priest is very low health, and so kind of prioritizing the low health S Priest over, the Sci-Flay is potentially good. See, now we're gonna go after the lock this time, but also I kind of think that the DK is a little bit of a play. I was originally gonna go straight after the DK because obviously closest target to you is the one you kind of want to go after. And then I was gonna big burst the warlock, but the warlock has a defensive up, so clearly not the call. I should be dropping darkness, and should have dropped it way sooner than I am currently right now. I still have yet to do it. I blurred, which not too bad, but like I should have dropped darkness and not blur. But and like save the blur, like keeping the darkness, and we still survived and everything. Like that's fine, kind of, but I think darkness was definitely the call there. Now warlock has another defensive up, and I'm kind of like, okay, who do I go after? I don't want to necessarily go after the DK because he's got Sank on him, and obviously that's going to be helping the Pally. So it's kind of a rough sense, and I think truthfully right there I didn't catch that he got his IBF up, because I think the blessing of freedom is what overtook that, and so it was just a split second not seeing that, and so obviously I'm going to continue going after the DK. Should have swapped back though, 100%. That's on me. He ends up cloning the warlock there, which is kind of a rough moment because I negated a lot of damage clearly because I went straight after him. Now he gets a defensive up, and I go after the DK because defensive up. I think that's one of the things that this druid was kind of maybe like screwing up on. Like he kept like kind of boasting about like how much XP he has, and like he's like 2200 and blah blah blah. Which that's fine, but I feel like a lot of my decision making of like who I was going after quite a few times in this was purely because of defensives, and the upsetness that was happening with the R Druid was that we were going away from attacking the kill target that they called because they had a defensive up, and maybe they don't have big debuffs or whatever and didn't see it. But anyways, we're into the next game, and this one is an interesting one to say the least, because this is a game that I felt very good about, just like overall play style. But for some reason, we still ended up losing all but one game. And that's one of the big reasons I wanted to do a VOD review of this specific game. And obviously we do two videos, or two games of video recently. So we figured might as well do the other one as well. But this one I did very well as far as like I feel as a player and like, my experience and everything, that I did well. but obviously things would have had to have gone wrong for us to only win one. So I'm really curious on seeing that. I know there was one specific time, because I watched part of this VOD review, or part of this VOD already, and like kind of reviewed it of like what there has been something crazy, and there wasn't anything crazy. So one thing that to note is obviously how I'm starting these games in my opener, to where I am dropping my Sigil of Flames as well as doing my immolation aura. Now you might be asking, why are you doing that? Because I was looking for an opener, and Mess, if you guys are familiar with Mess, he's on Team Liquid. He usually is a DK main and so on and so forth. Someone that I really like respect as a player, just in general. He's very, very good, right? And he's been playing DH a lot. So I basically was watching, some of his VODs and stuff like that to see what his opener exactly is. And that's what he was doing. And so I stole that. Now you'll see in the next video, not this one, but the next video, that I watched more of his VODs and he immediately stopped doing that. So I feel like that was either a really bad choice to, kind of do in general, or it kind of just was more of a, like, he had a very specific reason for those games that I was watching that he was doing that, and I don't know what those reasons are. So, ended up, not doing that anymore. But here, I think I spent way too much time going after the healer. Like, the healer was very low health, and like, it's not necessarily the worst idea ever to go after healers, but like, it's not good. And as soon as he popped his whatever defensive this is, I think it just keeps them healthy from crits. If I'm correct, I could be very wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it does. I should have swapped off of it. The druid did end up having a defensive as well, so that's one of the big reasons I didn't swap off of it by the time that I got into kind of where the druid's like range is. Also, this is another time that darkness should have been dropped so much earlier. I'm trying to get a little bit more liberal with my darkness and stuff. If I drop darkness earlier, this is a very potential moment that I could have actually turned the tide of that game, because having darkness way sooner for that pally could have had, time for him to heal back up. We had their team kind of on the ropes there, like a little bit there at the end, but of course they also had ours, but I had darkness to drop, so that could have kind of changed the tide for us to where we could have gotten a kill. And also, if I didn't spend so much time on the Holy Priest there, that could have also been a big, game changer, if you will. Here I tried very hard to get him out of his stealth. I think I need to wait to do my stealth a little bit earlier, potentially. Now right there, that was a pretty good opener, just kind of overall. And that's a little bit of what my new opener is to where I immolation aura, I get as much momentum with dashes as possible. Now he's really low and he does have a defensive up, but with that low of health and a defensive up, I decided I'm going to still just train him because we might be able to get the kill out of it. Then he gets a big heal and I swap, but he gets his, he's doing fists. Sorry, I just had a belch there. But the monk was doing fists and I tried to stun it. So, and I did end up stunning it, but it was basically over by that time, so it didn't really like work out. But regardless, what my new current opener is immolation aura, both my dashes to like just get in, eye beam, vengeful retreat, then the hunt, and then start everything else. As many inner demon procs as I can get to, basically just take them out as much as possible. Now, I did screw that one up. I was not in range of anybody at all for both my death sweeps and my, I think maybe my, I can't think of what the name is, but the big green thing with the purple knife holding ability that's on my shift 5. Can't think of the name of it, whatever. I hit that and I maybe got the monk, but like at that point it didn't matter that I hit the monk because I wasn't attacking the monk, and then that again, death sweep that didn't hit anybody, which that's very rough. Now there's 2 defensives going up. Again, this is one that's like, I guess I go into the hunter because I should have blurred way earlier. I am getting more liberal with my blurs as well. So where like as soon as I start dropping in HP, since blur isn't like a super long cooldown, I just blur so that way either they get off of me or I'm now just negating all that damage as early as possible, you know, and then it will be off cooldown hopefully soon enough next time that I'm in trouble, you know. But regardless, there's two defensives going up, and so I don't know who to necessarily go into, but the monk he's basically a pally bubble, you know, with his defensive there, so chose not to go after him. Right there, that's the one, and I'm actually gonna go back in the VOD real quick. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm also slowing this one down because right here I start going after the healer because there was a life swap, right? And that is our demise, essentially. I see life swap, I see low health, I go after it. If you look how low that the hunter is, if I could have just hit him with just one attack, didn't matter. One attack, he would have went down, and we would have ended up winning that one. So there's a little bit of some moments, especially in this game, that are kind of like that in a rough sense, to where the defensives and kind of hitting into, you know, swapping defensives and not hitting into defensives is kind of my downfall, to where I see a life swap, I see low HP, I'm like, okay, let's go after him real quick. But I'm trying too hard to make sure I'm swapping on defensives that it kind of screws me up just a little bit. I'm not saying like I'm doing like bad because I'm swapping, you know, on defensives. I'm just saying that doing that in that moment right there, because like I know life swap's not necessarily defensive, but I figured lower health, let's try to take him out real fast if we possibly can. And it didn't work out, you know, in that moment. Now I stopped on defensive here, that felt really good. Obviously that was a really good play. And the best thing for us to essentially do in that moment. Now, again, there's two defensives kind of going up right now, or going on at once, I should say. Just kind of swapping to the target that's not invincible is what I think is probably obviously the best choice to do. Could be wrong, but now it is time for us to like really try to buckle down and get him. Now he is in bear form, and I don't know if swapping on bear form is the call and the better choice. The healer's kind of out of position here, and I really was hoping that I was going to be able to get a stun on him with him being out of position. But unfortunately, he had some really good awareness and really good timing to stun me now out of position by like a lot. So that was kind of truly unavoidable, I think. Like, I don't think there was a way for me to get around not getting, you know, essentially stunned there. So now here we got stunned again, because for some reason being a DH, like that is your life half the time, is just constantly getting stunned. Now, I have also noticed, which is, it doesn't suck, but it also kind of sucks, is the range of DH's kicks, to where it's melee range. It's a little bit farther off than that, but for the most part, in a rough sense, it is melee range. Right there, I don't know why, but I was under the impression that Death Sweep also did magic damage, and I thought he was low enough HP that we could have actually ended up getting him there. But unfortunately, obviously, it does not do magic damage, as we could tell that he was completely immune to all of that damage right there. So kind of sucked, but you know, is what it is. I should have not stunned the feral druid there, but also like he was just so low health that I don't think that if I stunned the monk instead, he would not have went down. So again, it's a big problem that I've just kind of been having, just like in all of these games, and you'll kind of see that in a rough sense, is like darknessing and stuff. And so like doing this VOD review, like clearly there are times that like should have darknessed here, should have done, you know, this or that. But I'm also trying to see like what the core things that I, in a sense, did very wrong are. Now he's fully, oh my goodness, I just even playing, or not even playing, I just saw how low of HP our healer was, and I should be going and saving him. But also in a rough sense, in a very rough sense, like I could have helped, I could have definitely helped, and probably would have really like potentially turned some tides. But like darkness isn't the like end all be all, at least in my opinion, end all be all this will save your teammate. You know what I mean? It's not immunity. It's just less damage. You know what I mean? To where if you catch it early enough, yeah, you'll definitely save him from like going down on a big burst. But also, like, in my opinion, as like someone that's inexperienced, that was a very odd play for them to just go after him and like do that much damage. So I'm not really worried about the healer, because that's not something, in my opinion, like specifically my opinion, that happens like super often. Oh wow, hey, I'm basically doing my my rotation right here, that the new rotation that I've been doing. I do exactly that. I do exactly the new rotation that I've been doing right there. That's awesome. That's cool. I wonder, I don't remember which game that we ended up winning, but I wonder if this was the game that I ended up winning, because I had a good feeling rotation. You know what I mean? See here, I'm cloned. There's nothing I can do. I still really need to figure out a way to see where my teammates are. I think I need to turn on their HP bars and maybe find something that I can make their HP bars like a blue or something like that. Something that's very not normal. And then I can actually like full blown see where they are and who they are, you know, that they're obviously my team compared to, you know, their team and stuff like that. I just came up with that idea. I think that might be what I end up doing. So you'll see it in the next video if I end up doing that. But here, that's pretty good play. I feel like I'm doing relatively well. Not hitting into defensives. Now I do need to keep like momentum up a little bit more. Should be throwing some glaives, like especially when I'm rooted and stuff like that. I could have vengeful retreated, and I probably should have, but I know for a fact right there I went in for a kick. I didn't have kick, I don't believe, off cooldown yet, and so that's probably why I ended up still getting cycloned. Because I know that it just came off cooldown, so I'm assuming it was like I had used it earlier and it was like just barely been used type of thing. I don't think it took it away from trying to kick that clone. But you know, like that's something that's God, it's such a learning curve of like learning to do a skill shot. You know what I mean? That was good. I don't think I intentionally avoided that searing glare by any means. But it kind of worked out. Right here, I should have been going after the hunter. Hunter was much lower HP, and now I am terrified of a druid. Not necessarily the feral druids, but like feral druids do a lot of damage. You know, just being free, if you will. Now he life swapped me, and I actually did end up blurring, and that's good. You know what I mean? And we did end up winning that one. Nice. I clapped. I don't know if you heard that, but I clapped. But yeah, so we ended up winning that one. But yeah, I should have went after the hunter. We ended up winning, which is still nice, but I should have went after the hunter there because of how low he was. The blur was a good timing. Like, I don't think truly that I noticed that I got life swapped, and that's why I blurred, but I did notice that my HP was really low, and that's why I blurred, you know? So was it kind of late if I noticed just then that my HP was going down? Yes, but I just looked down. I was like, my HP is almost gone. What just happened? Blur. You know, so that's a very good, like, not habit, but like, you know, habit to have, if you will. And I'm so mad that did not take him out of stealth, and he still got it, because I think I stopped just barely before dealing damage to him, like range-wise. And so it was just so unfortunate that that's the way that it went, you know. Here I messed up my opener, which is really, really rough. And I probably should, yeah, there we go. I should also be dropping some sigils and stuff, because that's kind of our money maker. I know that I get 25 fury, and this is something I've been doing recently. I get 25 fury from the consume magic. And I should be using consume magic definitely, but recently, at least in the next video that you guys will be seeing, that is my least priority. You know, I want to hit every other button, and then if I need to hit something, I'll hit consume magic, unless I have a reason to hit consume magic. You know what I mean? Just because it doesn't deal damage and everything else deals damage, and I feel like, especially in solo shuffle, dealing damage is huge. Now with an R druid or something like that, something that has hots that you can kind of, you know, just take away. Now you're taking away healing, which is almost the same as taking away damage in a sense, you know. So that's what I kind of do. Now he has a defensive. I should not be chasing him here. Especially the priest defensive like that. Like the monk doesn't have any defensive at all. I think we both end up deciding to go after the monk here. Yeah, we do. Okay. There was a second that he was still also attacking the druid, but we decided not to, because like I was still going after him as well while he had defensives, because he was low on HP to where we could potentially hit through that defensive and just still get the kill. Obviously he got enough HP back and everything that it was not worth trying that, and we should have probably swapped, you know, earlier if we don't have the damage to actually end up doing it. There I didn't go after the healer, which was good, but our buddy is about to go down. The hunter's about to go down here. But oh, they actually got him back up on HP, which is very nice. I didn't think that was actually going to end up happening. Right here, I'm very, very sad / upset, because that was so close to getting that kill, and he kited well. You know, he got away from it with a good kite. I should not have hunted into that defensive. That was so dumb on my end, and I shouldn't have done it. I should have also saw that our hunter had swapped over to the druid earlier, and truthfully, that druid would have been dead. If I would have swapped earlier when I noticed that the hunter, which I probably didn't notice in this VOD, obviously, or like while I was playing, that the hunter swapped over to the druid, if I would have noticed it, that would have been the kill, and we would have won at least 2 that time. And same thing with that, I think it was the first game or whatever, that I was going into the priest way too much. So like overall, this is a cool VOD to rewatch, because it's a game that I truly felt like I still played well, like with hitting buttons, like purely that, but the awareness is where it was truly, truly lacking. So either way, guys, that was a really cool VOD. So thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Links for everything is down in the description below, including nuova.store for merch if you want to get yourself something cool. And a special thank you to this month's Spotlight members. If you want to become a member and get some awesome perks like being able to see videos early and even more, check out the join button down below. Make sure to check out the videos over here if you want to watch more, and I appreciate you all so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!